Welcome back to another episode of Inspirational Sundays, everybody. This is episode 8 of season 3. We're continuing reading on from Genesis. In the last episode, the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, the evil city of Sodom and Gomorrah, and we are continuing now, catching up or following Abraham and Sarah at Gerar. Okay, so Genesis chapter 20, verse 1. Let's continue. Abraham moved to the southern desert where he settled between Kadesh and Shur. Later, he went to Gerar, and while there he told everyone that his wife Sarah was his sister. So King Abimelech of Gerar had Sarah brought to him. But God came to Abimelech in a dream and said, "You have taken a married woman into your home, and for this you will die." It wasn't even his fault, but hey, that's God, man. Rules are rules. Abimelech said to the Lord, "Don't kill me. I haven't slept with Sarah. Didn't they say they were brother and sister? I am completely innocent." He is right. He's not wrong. Then God continued, "I know you are innocent. That's why I kept you from sleeping with Sarah and doing anything wrong. Her husband is a prophet. Let her go back to him, and his prayers will save you from death. But if you don't return her, you and all your people will die." Verse 8. Early the next morning, Abimelech sent for his officials, and when he told them what had happened, they were frightened. Abimelech then called in Abraham and said, "Look what you have done to us. What have I ever done to you? Why did you make me and my nation guilty of such a terrible sin? What were you thinking when you did this?" Abraham answered, "I did it because I didn't think any of you respected God. And I was sure that someone would kill me to get my wife. Besides, she is my half-sister. We have the same father but different mothers. When God made us leave my father's home and start wandering, I told her, 'If you really love me, then tell everyone that I am your brother.' After Abimelech had given Abraham some sheep, cattle, and slaves, he sent Sarah back and told Abraham he could settle anywhere in the country. Then he said to Sarah, 'I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver as proof to everyone that you have done nothing wrong.' Meanwhile, God had kept Abimelech's wife and slaves from having children, but Abraham prayed, and God let them start having children again." Let's go on to chapter 21. Sarah has a son. The Lord was good to Sarah and kept his promise. Although Abraham was very old, Sarah had a son exactly at the time God had said. Abraham named his son Isaac. And when the boy was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him, just as God had commanded. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. And Sarah said, "God has made me laugh, and now everyone will laugh with me." Who would have dared to tell Abraham that someday I would have a child? But in his old age, I have given him a son. The time came when Sarah no longer had to nurse Isaac, and on that day Abraham gave a big feast. Hagar and Ishmael are sent away. One day, Sarah noticed Hagar's son Ishmael playing, and she said to Abraham, "Get rid of that Egyptian slave woman and her son. I don't want him to inherit anything. It should all go to my son." Abraham was worried about Ishmael, but God said, "Abraham, don't worry about your slave woman and the boy. Just do what Sarah tells you. Isaac will inherit your family name, but the son of the slave woman is also your son, and I will make his descendants into a great nation." Verse 14. Early the next morning, Abraham gave Hagar an animal skin full of water and some bread. Then he put the boy on her shoulder and sent them away. They wandered around the desert near Beersheba, and after they had run out of water, Hagar put her son under a bush. Then she sat down a long way off because she could not bear to watch him die, and she cried bitterly. When God heard the boy crying, the angel of God called out to Hagar from heaven and said, "Hagar, why are you worried? Don't be afraid. I have heard your son crying. Help him up and hold his hand, because I will make him the father of a great nation." Then God let her see as well. So she went to the well. Oh, God let her see a well. So she went to the well and filled the skin with water, then gave some to her son. God blessed Ishmael, and as the boy grew older, he became an expert at hunting with his bow and arrows. He lived in the Paran desert, and his mother chose an Egyptian woman for him to marry. Verse 22, a peace treaty. About this time, Abimelech and his army commander, Phicol, said to Abraham, "God blesses everything you do. Now I want you to promise in the name of God that you will always be loyal to me and my descendants, just as I have always been loyal to you in this land where you have lived as a foreigner." And so Abraham promised he would. One day, Abraham told Abimelech, "Some of your servants have taken over one of my wells." "This is the first I've heard about it," Abimelech replied. "Why haven't you said something before?" "I don't have any idea who did it." Abraham gave Abimelech some sheep and cattle. Then the two men made a peace treaty. Abraham separated 7 female lambs from his flock of sheep, and Abimelech asked, "Why have you done this?" Abraham replied, "I want you to accept these 7 lambs as proof that I dug this well." So they called the place Beersheba, because they made a treaty there. When the treaty was completed, Abimelech and his army commander Phicol went back to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and worshipped the eternal Lord God. Then Abraham lived a long time as a foreigner in the land of the Philistines. And that's going to wrap it up for today's episode, everybody. Hope you enjoyed reading along or just listening. We're just enjoying the word. We're just enjoying reading along and reading the word. And I hope you guys are enjoying too. As always, I'm your humble host, Picaso. Thanks for joining in. Stay blessed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.